Hi Rob, how you doing? You okay?
Yes, Paul.
Good, good. Thanks for inviting us down to your lovely factory here for the tempered chocolate. We've been so excited about coming to see you guys. So we normally start this off by asking you, how did you kind of get into doing the chocolate thing? And what did you guys do before? Because there's 3 or 4 of you in the team here.
Yeah.
So what was the inspiration behind this?
I worked in London for 24 years. I was in the city, so I was in foreign exchange, desk job.
Yeah.
Got bored of it, got fed up of doing it, probably a bit of burnout. Colin was in sales in the food industry, so he had a lot of experience in the food industry, selling it especially. I've always been interested in making the stuff and eating the stuff, as you can probably tell. But I love food really, and I love flavours. So I left the city, wanted something to do, and we decided to set up a chocolate factory. We wanted to go into food. I wanted a restaurant. My wife Sonia, who's part of the team, she didn't want a restaurant. She was very sort of like adamant that it would be too much work, too much investment, too much time, and she was right. So this was like a really good option.
Because this is the easy option, right?
Well, yeah. It's a slightly easier option.
Yeah.
But it was a good way to sort of get in. It had slightly less hurdles. It was slightly less investment. Sonia's dad, who owns the building that we're in now, gave us really preferable rates. So it really helped. It helped us like kickstart us off.
Yeah.
So yeah, Tempered was born in sort of November 20. We started online, and we've had 3 years of really good growth. So it's been a really good sort of journey for us.
Yeah. What was the first few flavours you had?
Well, we actually started. So in the lockdown, we had a list of about 23 flavours that we'd created, and people with all of our friends, family, etc. were all testing and trying, and then we sort of narrowed it down. We wanted to start with just 6 because we wanted to be like really minimal, just have 6 flavours.
It's simple.
It's simple, easy to concentrate on. In the end, we launched with 12, so we didn't really keep it that simple. So I mean, our first sort of run of our first main flavour was the Malden sea salt and caramel.
Yeah.
We're in Malden.
Yeah,
we had to use that product. It's a local product, and it's such a well-known flavour that I think we thought it would be a really good like opening bar. Smooth milk is the plain one. Apple crumble, which was really different, but everyone really liked. And then in the dark side, we sort of had the dark honeycomb. Went to the dark side, yeah. The dark peppermint, just something a bit more sort of classical, really, to start with. Because I think what we wanted to do is open up quite classically, and then it sort of expand into some of the slightly more trickier.
A bit more adventurous.
Yeah.
Yeah. How many flavours do you have now?
16 at the moment. 17. We have special editions every now and again. So the maximum we've been up to is 17. But yeah, at the current time, we're running 16 different flavours.
Right. Which one? I need to ask. Which one's the best seller?
It's Malden sea salt and caramel.
Definitely.
Double the sales.
Really?
We sell double that of all the others. I mean, things like peanut butter and pistachio, apple crumble are really good in the milk chocolate. So even smooth milk, our plain milk bar, sells really, really well. Honeycomb and popping candy, and then in the dark, the peppermint, espresso and walnut, and our now new dark ginger, which we just launched last September. It's coming up really, really well. So they all sell relatively evenly, really. It's surprising because you sort of think you get a few stragglers, but they actually all sell relatively well. But the sea salt it's like head and shoulders above the others.
I mean, the apple crumble is quite a niche one, isn't it? To do with?
But I think once people, what we find is it's quite funny. We get people online ordering. They order a smooth milk or a sea salt and caramel, and then the next order will be apple crumble, lemon and blueberry cheesecake, because they love the product and they think, well, let's try something a little bit
different.
Yeah. And then they come back for the apple crumble. That's sort of like our bar. That's the most surprising one, because people don't understand how apple crumble will work in the chocolate, but when they try it, it's like they come back for more.
Yeah. Well, as we said before, we stumbled across you guys a little while ago, and we both bought a bar. We obviously did a little video about you guys, and that's how we kind of got in touch. What flavour did you have, Charlie?
Pistachio and peanut butter.
Pistachio, but I think I had the dark chocolate and the mint.
Yeah.
And what I personally liked about it was that instant flavour, the nice thick chunky chocolate, which you don't really get these days. There are maybe a couple of other out there that do it, but not your regular high street stuff.
I think that was one of our sort of points, is if we're going to do chocolate, how are we going to stand out?
Yeah.
So we've gone bright colours. So we thought we'll go as bright as we can. We went into the local supermarkets, went in all the local places and looked at all the chocolate range. And it's pretty standard.
That's a horrible day out, right?
It's terrible. It was hard work. Somebody had to do it.
It took me 2 weeks to do that.
But it's pretty standard. You get like your gold foil, you get your nice pictures. It's just quite boring. Nothing jumped out and said, "Oh, eat me." So we said, "Well, look, let's go for these big, bold, bright colours, quite a simple logo, and then some really, really fun flavours." And the chunky chocolate was what was like. We were adamant that that's what we wanted to do because we were fed up with skimflation, fed up with shrinkflation, fed up with everything getting thinner and thinner and thinner. I mean, artisan stuff was like a wafer thin thing with a few bits of inclusions chucked on the back of it. And yes, it looked handmade, but it also, there was nothing there. You know, you're paying £5 or £6 for like 80 grams of chocolate. You know, our 200-gram bars are £5.95, but you actually, it's a really substantial amount of chocolate, and you can't eat it all in one go. And
beg to differ. I did. I ate that dark chocolate and mint one. It took about 20 minutes.
That's good going.
It was good. So good. Yeah.
And you can bet I did not share mine.
No, you didn't share yours. No, I was quite happy you mine and not sharing that as well.
We get that so much. We say, "Oh, they're for sharing," and everybody says, "I'm not sharing it. I'm not sharing it. I'm not sharing it."
No, not sharing. But you're right though. I mean, the bright colours do stand out. We've got a few here. This is the Eat and Mess one, which we tasted a minute ago, didn't we? The Eat and Mess one. That's banging, that one. This one is my favourite. So that beer one probably lives in my pocket. But
there's a stack of 10 there, isn't there?
A stack of 10, only bigger pockets. But you're right. I mean, it's a different logo. It's a different branding you've got out to make yourself. And so you've got to stand out. I mean, if you're gonna beat your competitors and be different and survive in whatever market and industry you're in, you do need to have something different to make you stand out above everyone else.
I think that was part of the reason to go to chocolate as well. Is that, you know, we looked at the chocolate market and thought, well, hang on, this is an absolutely immense market. I think something like between £4 to £6 billion is spent on chocolate a year in the UK. So we said, look, even if we get a tiny fraction of that market, no, we're not expecting to take on Cadbury's or you know, be this amazing, but a tiny fraction of that. So if we produce a good quality product that is different to what's out there at the moment, tastes great and it looks great, then I think as long as we can nick that little percentage, then the business would be successful. And I mean, so far that sort of methodology is proven right. It actually works quite well. The feedback's amazing. You know, with 5-star reviews everywhere. Everyone's really like positive about the branding, the look of it. So it was more like just capture people's imagination, but give a decent, good product that is actually feels like you're buying something rather than getting ripped off.
What you're paying for, you're getting value for what you pay for. We discussed off camera beforehand that the reduction in chocolate bars, etc. these days, which are staying at the same price, but the chocolate's getting smaller and smaller and smaller. I thought it was just because I'm getting older and bigger and I haven't got my Mars bars used to be massive, you know. So you said you worked in a city. Did you decide, right, we're just going to take the leap, or was it something you kind of started as a side hustle? And
no, it was just an instant thing, really. I got to I'd done 24 years, same job. I'd worked in the same place for 24 years as well, so I hadn't even moved around, and I just got to the point where I didn't want to do it anymore. It was. I mean, you could call it a sort of mini burnout, really. Just didn't want to travel to London. Didn't want to go. I got fed up with going into the office. The job was boring, soulless. You know, the only thing it provided was a decent income, and I know a lot of people would say, "Oh, yeah, but a decent income is important." But it's not everything. You know, it's not the be all and end all. We're not earning any money out of this at the moment because everything we earn, we're reinvesting. So it's a lot of work. We're doing hours and hours and hours, but it's more rewarding because we're watching something grow. Every decision we make is our own responsibility. So we've got the full control over everything, and that's worth so much more than the financial side of it. So I think was Colin was at the same sort of same time in his career as well. He'd done enough. He'd done 20 odd years in sales, and he didn't want to do it anymore. And we're quite close brothers, so we sort of got together and said, well, let's just do something together. We're both quite capable. We always thought we were confident enough to run a business. So it just sort of blossomed from there, really. And then we had the addition of Sonia and my wife. She's worked with us full time right from the start. Carla, our niece, who's done a lot of our sort of creative stuff. She's really, really creative. We're more logical and more sort of like the actual nuts and bolts side of it. And Carla does a lot of our creative stuff, the branding, some of the wording and stuff like that on the internet, the website. So yeah, it just seemed like a really good package to take forward and create something new and have something that wasn't as soulless as I was doing before. And provided a bit of life.
The people we've spoken to, that's a common theme where the people who are in a job that they don't actually enjoy it and they know that they can be doing something they're really passionate about, but a lot of people are kind of right, if I take the leap, it's a financial leap. Is it going to work? What if I fail? Failure is a big fear factor for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I think if you're fortunate enough to have the kind of a bit of money behind you to be able to do it, it's great. But there's so many things you have to take into account. Like this, you've got this premises here, which you're fortunate enough to have, but you've got the packaging, the marketing. Who you're going to buy your products from, to your ingredients from.
Yeah.
You've got to do a whole load of research first before you actually sell a bar of chocolate, right?
It's a lot of work. I mean, the whole and the stuff that goes on behind the scenes before this product reaches the shelf is immense. I mean, it's like, I think our backgrounds help because Colin had a good experience in product placement in shops, dealing with shops, and I've had a good financial background, so I could deal with all the costings, the numbers, pricing the bars. Colin was really good at sort of deciding what products we'd have and where we could sell them.
Yeah.
And I think that was a really good it's again a good combination to create it. I think the biggest advice I think is you've just got to work hard, and if it's something that you really really like, then everyone says it, go for it. But I do believe that if you really believe in something and it's your passion, then you can make it work. That's what I feel like. I feel like you've got to have a love for it, otherwise there's no point. Because if you don't love it, you're never going to put the effort in, because it is hard work.
Yeah, and it's different when you might enjoy your day job, but if it's something you're passionate about, you do something different. But the passion that you follow, that path that you follow, isn't a job, is it? Like footballers, they work, but it's a job. But they've always liked football since they were 2 or 3 years old. Now they're doing the job they like, and it's like, well, you're doing this. It's something you like, you're passionate about. You wake up in the morning, it's not like, I've got to get a train, I've got to get into London and commute 9 to 5, rat race and all that kind of thing.
I mean, the money is the important factor. It's like I had been fortunate enough to have a decent job for a long while, and it given me a little bit of enough backing to take the risk. And I do understand if you haven't got it, but there's no reason why you can't have it as a side hustle to start with, and then build it up into something. We've gone all in really. We've basically we've all been working full time right from the word go. Yeah. None of us have been drawing salaries. I mean, we are now paying ourselves because the company's got to a point where it's sort of like self-funding. So it doesn't need any more investment. It's rolling, it's earning a bit of money, so we can actually start taking a little bit of an income from it. Yeah. But the truth is, we've actually had a lot of work for very little return, but it's more about the future than it is now. And we're all, I don't know if I can speak for everybody, but certainly for me, and I think Colin, and I'd say Sonia as well, but it's definitely more rewarding. I think Sonia finds it harder to deal with because the thing with this is every month you go back to zero again. Whereas, so you start the month with 0 sales and you don't know whether we make X amount of chocolate and we don't know whether we're going to sell it. And I think that's the hardest thing, because Sonia's been used to just working with in other companies and being an employee, to suddenly have the responsibility of that. I think you find that harder, don't you? So it's I think that's the thing that we need to sort of we all need to work on. But I've been quite good at that. The risk taking. Yeah. Colin's quite good with it. We just sort of we tend to get an idea in our heads, think about how it's going to work, think about how it goes, and then just stick with our decision. I think if you go for it, you've got to stick with your decision. You can't then second guess yourself. Yeah. And if you get it wrong, learn quickly and say, look, I've made a mistake, and then move on and do something about it. Yeah, yeah. If you get it right, roll with it, and then sort of accelerate that. But definitely, we all make mistakes. Nothing's ever. We've along the way, there's hundreds of mistakes, stupid things like things being printed wrong, where you haven't read the proof properly. Because you're in a rush to get something done, and everyone says to you, "I always read a proof," and you say, "Oh yeah, that's all right, that's all right, they'll be fine." Yeah. And then you get it, and you go, "Oh, that's wrong," and then you have to spend another 500 quid getting another run. Yeah. And it's things like that you've just all the hurdles you've just got to do and go through. But every little step, you learn something new.
Yeah, for sure. And if you're not failing, then you're not learning, right? Yeah. And I guess with what you and Colin did, and I guess Sonia to some extent as well, you've got what your previous jobs were. This is completely different, but you do have that 20 plus years of experience, and you have those transferable skills that you can bring across. People don't realise that what I want to do is completely different to what I was doing. How am I going to do it? Well, if you sit down and think, well, accounting, I'm good with numbers, I can do that. A bit of marketing, no, but that's something I'm going to need to learn. Yeah. So it's understanding what you're worth and what your values are and what you can do, and then utilising those skills into your new venture, right?
Putting the right people in the right places was always going to be the right thing. It'd be no good putting me out on the road to sell stuff, because Yeah, I mean, I sold in my previous job, but it was just on the phone. It wasn't. I didn't have to go out and work for it. People were coming to me.
Yeah.
Colin has a different job. He's got to go into places and cold call and speak to them, and then push the product into a market that's really saturated. You know, there's hundreds of chocolate bars.
Yeah.
People are going into those farm shops every day with products. It's for you to then get space on their shelf. You've got to have something quite special. So he's really good at doing that. So that was his really good skill set to bring to the game. You know, I brought the costing side. Sonia's really meticulous and hard working in terms of the production side of things. She controls all the production side in here,
Yeah.
and that means that runs really smoothly without having to worry about it. And every little detail is taken care of, and then we just adjust things as we go. So yeah, it's like. In her previous jobs, she would have had that skill set, but it would have been just directed somewhere else. Now it's directed at chocolate making.
Yeah.
For me, my financial background was directed in foreign exchange, and now it's directed in getting the pricing right and getting the market, getting the value right, and getting the buying goods at the right prices and stuff like that. So all the buying side of it, all of the controlling that is done. So it's just utilising every skill set that you've got and then making the most of it. And then also, like you said, none of us knew anything about marketing. And it's just a case of reading as much as you can, learning as much as you can, and just picking up things along the way and doing it in incremental stages rather than like trying to go full in and get a marketing agency and spend thousands of pounds. It didn't make any sense to me. But now I'm seeing the value of it more as the business grows.
Yeah, it is hard, and it is. I think every day when you're hands on like this, you are learning every day. And you guys are 3 years in now, so we were talking earlier about the mistakes and spillages and stuff you'd had, but you learn quickly, don't you? You know, right, we don't do that. We know to order that much packaging, and we're going to talk about what you do to advertise your stuff. You say you go to events as well, so you know what stock to take to various events. And somebody's been keeping a list of what you sell everywhere, so you've got that history and that knowledge. So when you do expand and you've got new products coming, well, that might work at that event, or this might work at that event. So it's that experience and knowledge as you grow. But when you start a business, you don't know that, do you?
Absolutely, no, not at all. It's
a
lot of guesswork. It's all a lot of guesswork, and then what you've got to do, and what we've learned quickly is, and I think I touched on it earlier, is you've got to go with the things that are right, and work with them, and then quickly discard the things that aren't, because that's when you'll become more successful. If you try and hold on to something for too long that's not working, it will just cause you more problems than anything else. You're almost better off cut out the dead wood, and then just get on with something that really works. So it's like the packaging thing. You'll make a mistake once, and then you won't make it again. But you'll make a different mistake. It's never ending. There's always another. And we have a little saying in here, haven't done that before. Because every day something will happen and we haven't done it before. It'll be like something different will happen and it'll be like, oh, we haven't done that before. And it's just random stuff. And you think, well, how the hell do we not do it? Or how have we never come to that? And how can there still be stuff that we're doing wrong?
Yeah, especially when you're in here every day, aren't you?
Yeah.
So when you started out 3 years ago, you say you guys didn't have much marketing experience. How did you get your brand out there? What did you do?
It's hard to say really, because I think Carla, our niece, had a reasonable following before. She's got a couple of other little businesses. She's a branding photographer as well, so she had quite a good social network. So I think we launched online. We caught COVID right, so everyone was ordering stuff online. I don't mean that. That's actually probably not very good wording. That's really, really bad wording. But we caught the timing right, is what I should have said. But yeah, so everyone was at home and everyone was ordering online. We launched in November 20, and she had already had a big group of friends that wanted chocolate and started ordering. And then it's sort of like their friends then ordered, and then their friends then ordered, and that just gave us this really sort of like quick boost. And then Colin took it into a handful of shops that he had contacts with, and he'd already known them from his previous time, and they just, because they knew him so well and they loved the product, they just took it straight on. So they were taking a stand and stuff like that, and it just gave us a really good base to work from. And then the events came along, and we were going to the events. People were able to try our chocolate, and as soon as they could try it, they were buying it. And it's sort of pretty much organic. We didn't throw a lot of money at it. We didn't spend a lot of time on marketing. What we wanted to be was professional in our sort of like customer service, attention to detail, make sure everything was perfect and ran really well, and just provide a good service and a good quality product. And I think that seems to sort of like have been enough for us to just grow and grow and grow. We haven't sort of thrown loads of effort at it. It's just been like hard work, really, as much as anything, hard work.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. So how many events did you do in your first year? Did you try and did you try and stay local so you're reducing costs? Because I think with the first few events you do, you've got like maybe an awning type setup. You've got you've got to pay for your pitch. You've got travel. Then you think, well, how many? We've got all these flavours. Well, how many do we take of each? And you've obviously got your 2 sizes as well. So
we had no idea. It's really alien because, like you said, you've got no experience at all. So we'd send Colin off. Colin would book. We found a local company called Suffolk Market Events, who are a really good events company locally. They do a lot of stuff in Suffolk, some stuff in Colchester, and now in Malden as well. They've got a Malden market, and they're a reasonably priced market, but they had quite good footfall, and you can see they've been established for a while. So we booked Colchester Market on a Friday. I think that was one of our first things we ever did. Was a Friday morning in Colchester. It was raining. Sent Colin out.
Because it's raining.
Yeah,
Send Colin.
Yeah, well, he always gets the good jobs. And then we basically, and then from there we didn't do very well there. It was really hard work, and we thought we've got to be able to do better than this. Start asking around to the other market holders and say to them, look, this is what are we doing? You know, how can we improve? And then you're right. You start with a really old crappy awning or marquee. Yeah. Slowly we built up to a branded marquee. It's taken us 3 years to get there. We've now got a lovely branded marquee. Got all branded tablecloths, runners, and the kits now are like really professional and really set up. It's taken 3 years to get to that point, and now we know the markets that we choose. We know pretty much all the markets around the area. So we've got our calendar booked for this year. We've probably got 80% of it already booked out. Yeah. So 2024 is pretty full. We can only fit the odd date here and there. We'll be now starting to think about 2025. Whereas when we first started, we were looking like a month ahead, and that was about as far as we could think ahead. Yeah. So you gain that experience.
Do you get people asking you to go back as well?
Lots of people contacting us. I think because the product's quite fun and exciting, and there's not. We were surprised. There's not as much competition as we thought there'd be for chocolate at these events. I think there's obviously huge competition in the market, but at the local events, there's not many people doing what we do. Yeah. So we found that we were getting requests from people. We've seen your product. Would you like to come to our show? Would you like to come to our show? Would you like to come to our show? And we get constant emails from that. And then you get people going, "Oh, you were here last year. Do you want to come back because you're bringing customers in?" So yeah, it's been really good fun in that respect, and we've even had to turn people away, unfortunately, because, like I said, we're booked now to the end of this year. So if somebody comes up to us and says, "Oh, we've got this amazing thing on in November," and we can't do it. But next year, what we'll say is we'll have a look at it, and if we think that it can replace one of our current ones and maybe be better, then we'll start. So we're actually sort of like, it's almost like honing things in, rather than we've done the hard work to get to a sort of set, and now we can just swap things in and out to try and increase the turnover, increase our exposure.
Yeah, I guess for one of the words, you kind of scattergun where you're going to be, and now you're at a point where you can not pick and choose, but you know where the best ones are to go to. That's going to be worth your while, worth the setup cost and the pitch cost, and you're going to get a return on it, and you know that the people there have seen you before, so that you're going to sell, aren't you?
We've got a base clientele pretty much everywhere we go now. We know there's going to be X amount of people come through, and the people would have known our product, they would have bought it before, and they'll happily buy it again. So it's really good because it's given us, you go there already knowing you're going to sell stuff. The first few weeks you get to go to, you've got no idea what you're going to sell, what you're going to do. So it's just really, really random, and like you said, it's 100% scattergun. We were going to little village fetes to big events that cost like 300 quid to go to, and not knowing how to set up, what to set up, how to get there, and then now we like the regulars, so everyone knows each other, all the people there. We had, Sonia and I had a laugh because the first events that we walked onto, everyone's talking to each other, they all know each other, and we're like the little newbies in there, and nobody knows who you are, and you're setting up. And then now we're like walking around and, "Oh, hello mate, how you doing? How you doing? It's really good, like a little community of people that all sell their own products."
Yeah, and because you get to know these guys, and we were saying off camera that you spoke the cheese people and you meet other people, so it's kind of word of mouth recommendations as well, which also benefits your business and other events and whatever you might want to go to.
I mean, we've met people who've done hampers. So there's a cheese guy up in Cambridge called Cambridge Artisan Cheese. He's taken our chocolate, made hampers with them, with his cheese over Christmas time, and it's like a lot of little collaborations like that where we can like cross things over and just give each other information about where good events are, where things are bad, whether it was good this year. It's just really helpful, and the community is amazing. Actually, it's like surprisingly good. It's not, my other industry that I was in was really cutthroat. was really cutthroat. It was like they stabbed each other in the back for a £5. Whereas this is completely different. It's like literally everyone's trying to help each other to get on. It feels that way anyway. Whether that's whether it's really like that or not, I don't know. But it does feel like everyone just is quite happy for everyone to succeed.
But I think that's a thing with small business owners. Charlie and I, with the people we've spoken to, we've gone around to various shops and spoken to like independent shop owners as well as businesses. Is they're very supportive of the community and others who are trying to get themselves established as well. Corporate is very cutthroat. You're right, they stab each other in the back for a £5 or whatever it is. But it's nice to know that we spoke to the lady on Chelmsford Market, Ellie. She had a shop in the market, and that Chelmsford Market community, they've got each other's back. They support each other. They're only allowed to have one person selling one particular product, and it's great. Their business is thriving from it. So to have that community support is so beneficial.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that's been one of the things, and beyond even the little businesses, we've had great support from Mould and Sea Salt. We've had great support from Tiptree, Wilkin and Sons, Tiptree Jam. They've sort of embraced.
Those two are global brands now, aren't they?
Unbelievable. I mean, we didn't realise we sort of met them, and especially Wilkin and Sons as well. It's like they've had like business like demonstrators at their premises and invited us along to meet the people who buy their products to come and look at our product. You know, they're not even bothered. It's like I'll introduce you because you're a really good product and we like being associated with you. They've been really helpful. Mould and Sea Salt have their logo on our Mould and Sea Salt bar. You know, they've been really good to us. So it's like it's such an amazing feeling that even though they're these multi-global brands, that they're happy to sort of embrace the little business. Because we're still they started being family-run business. That was at one point in their sort of time. They were a little family-run business. So it's been amazing.
You can get so much advice from these people, can't you? You know, you're 3 years in, they're 30, 40, 50 years in and plus, and you're saying, well, I've got to mock this idea. No, hang on. Well, try doing this, can't you? And they hold your hand a little bit, and you think that information is worth its weight, isn't it? If you don't get that.
It saves you making the mistakes.
Yeah.
So the more mistakes you can cut out, obviously, the less waste of money the money you're going to waste. And that's the thing. All the mistakes that we make cost us directly. So that's why you learn so quickly, because you're the only one that's accountable for it. So if we make a mistake in here and lose 10 kilos of chocolate, we lose £100. If you're working for somebody and that happens, you get a slap on the wrist and you just say, don't do it again. But it doesn't really affect you as much. Whereas here, every wrapper we lose, every box we lose, every mistake we make, it costs.
Yeah, it's off the margin, right? So 3 years in, do you have a plan for the next year, 3 years, 5 years? What's the growth plan? Is there one?
Yeah, I mean, a loose one, really. I mean, what we try to do is we try to add a new product range every year, something new, something a bit more exciting, something a bit different. We added the gift box with the 24 chocolates in last year or the year before. We had a bit of a problem with what we're trying to add this year, but we've now got a new product that's coming out probably in the next 2 or 3 months. Something exciting. I'm not going to say very much, but it's a lovely new product for our range. And so we try and add a new product every year, add flavours to the range, and then just keep things exciting, really. So
more flavours.
Yeah. Although what we have decided is we're probably.
How do you manage that though? Because when you go to these events, you started off with 12, and then you got 16 or whatever it is. Well, how do you?
So a bigger and bigger stall.
Yeah, you want to keep it. You start off keeping it simple, but now you just kind of really spreading it. Will you knock some of them off the line, or?
We wanted to, but we can't. It's really hard to let them go. They're like little babies, and we've still got people that order them. So it's like every bar will have somebody online or somebody at an event who buys our product, and you'll say, I can't get rid of that one because so and so will buy that, and I don't want to let them down. So at the moment, we've got no inclination to drop anything. But what we have decided is this year we're going to do limited edition runs. Yeah. So what we're going to do is, rather than add a whole new product to the range, so increase the range completely, we'll release new flavours, but they'll be like, we'll make 2,000 bars of this, and it will just be on our shelf at events or on the online store, or Colin will sell it wholesale, and when it runs out, it runs out. And I think we're going to try and go down that road where we have like a limited edition drop, add 2 different flavours a year, maybe we're thinking of hot chocolate flavours, like bringing out a hot chocolate product in like 2025 probably. So we are starting to think ahead, because the thing is now you're sort of starting to believe in yourself. Yeah. That's the really important thing, is when you first get into this game, you don't believe in yourself, and you never know whether you're going to keep selling or not. And every month's exciting because it's like a new month. But now we sort of starting to believe in the fact that we'll come in the morning and there will be some internet orders. There will be a wholesale order. There is an event to go to on the weekend. So there's a reason to keep making the bars and keep building and keep growing. And I think while you've got that, I think you just naturally happens. I think you just plan ahead and just build.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? I mean, we was talking about this stuff on the internet. You mentioned you've done a few TikTok lives and bits and pieces. You're going into that as well. So that's, I'm not going to ask how old you are, but for me at my age, that's something new completely to learn as well, isn't it? You've got to kind of keep up with trends and what's going on out there.
It's scary. It's so alien to me. I don't really understand how it all goes. But the thing that has been great is the TikTok shop has been pretty. It's so easy to set up, and they've made it so quite intuitive. But they also do this whole education package that goes with it, and there's little snippets. It's like 10, 15-second clips, 20-second clips.
That's
so you
all
can
TikTok, isn't it? 20-second, 30-second clips.
So you can learn as you go.
Yeah.
And we just built our way into it. We did one live last week. We're doing another few lives in the coming weeks, and we're going to build our way into it slowly. But we realise that we have to. It's another channel. You know, we've got the wholesale, we've got our own website, we've got events, and we've got to add TikTok as another channel to try and just push our product somewhere different, just increase it. And it also appeals to a different demographic as well. You know, events might appeal to a slightly older demographic. Online, our website pretty much covers everybody. And then the wholesale, obviously, is like probably an older demographic as well, because it tends to be garden centres, farm shops, that sort of thing. But the TikTok will now bring us down to a sort of hopefully younger age group.
Yeah.
And then and just expand the range of people that can enjoy it.
Yeah. Do you only sell stuff UK based, or do you selling it? Because I guess TikTok may take you.
I think that's the hope. I think initially the plan would be eventually the plan would be to sell it nationwide, globally. But the problem is as well, we've got a lot of hurdles, and we're not until you get big enough. A lot of these, I think, coming out of the EU. Brexit has caused some problems because the VAT rules have changed. Yeah. Whereas before you could just sell directly to the EU. Now you have to have a VAT partner. It costs money to have a VAT partner. And then we're not really big enough. We're not selling enough to the EU to make it worthwhile. When we get to a point where, and maybe TikTok might be a way of overcoming that, because they might be able to provide that service.
Put you in touch with partners that can give you that facility to sell abroad.
So yeah, I mean, ultimately the aim would be for all of us, I think, is to grow the business as much as we can. Maybe over the next 5 to 10 years, and then I suppose ultimately you'd have to be honest and say there'd be an exit plan of trying to maybe sell it. But I mean, you know, whether you can or not, or can't or not, is another story. But that would be the ultimate aim. Would be in, like, say, 10 years' time, we find someone who'd like to buy it out, and then we can just move on and do something completely different, or retire and actually enjoy my life instead of working 18 hours a day.
24 years in a boring job and 3 years eating chocolate at the moment. I don't think it's, I think your life's getting better. I'll be honest.
It's improving.
It's improving. You keep on adding those flavours in. So what about premises as well? I mean, you've got a lovely setup here. Surely you're going to, if you're 3 years in, it's probably been fit for purpose. But I'd imagine once you start getting on TikTok and doing these other things, as you say, you're becoming more popular. You soon going to outgrow this, and you're going to need somewhere to expand. But I guess it's knowing how big do you go?
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, that's what we created initially as well. Another thing that I sort of designed into it is that we've got these little scalable pods. So this little factory setup we've got here, we know can produce X amount of chocolate. Yeah. If we replicate this, it'll obviously double the amount. Sure. It's quite easy then to know how much we can make in a given area, and it'll just be a case of taking steps. I'm not the sort of person who'll go all out and buy a multi-million-pound factory or something, or try and build one. I'd rather just go like one more step, then maybe another. And I know it'll probably cost more in the long run, but I think it'll be the best way for us.
I think it's probably more manageable.
Yeah, that's what I say.
If you've got this size, this little area here where you're making your chocolate, you say if you can double this, you'll know your revenue's going to be, your outlay's going to be that, your revenue's potentially going to be this. Yeah. So you know where you're scaling it, right? You're going out and buying like a 10,000 square foot warehouse and trying to, you've got to fit it out. Then you've got all the racking, you've got all the machinery, you've got the chocolate making, the fridges and everything else.
And the thing is, we know how much it all costs now.
Yeah.
You know, when we first came in a little bit sort of like, you go in, you have to sometimes, because if you actually look at the real costings, you probably would never do it. You have to sort of go in and then build as you go. But I mean, we kitted this room out all ourselves. So this was like literally on the weekends, we were like coming in, knocking holes in the walls, put all the whiteboarding in. You know, we did this. So we did this at a really good cost. I mean, if we go to a bigger place, we won't be able to do it ourselves, because we're still too busy making chocolate. We've now got to a point where we can't sort of give that up. Whereas this time we just had free time to sort of set it all up, get it all ready. So the next move would have to be a sort of decent step, And it will be imminent. I think it's going to be in the next year or two. I think we'll have to start looking for property around. We want to stay in Malden if we can, but again, it's hard. It depends on how much property there is available.
Did you do your research into your the chocolate making machines as well? Was it like, well, that one's average price or that one's really expensive? Do you go for the best, or do you kind of try and rein it in and think, well, it's knackered in 3 months, we should have gone for a slightly better one?
Yeah, I mean, there's not much choice. The Rolls Royce of these machines is Italian. They're called Selmi, and they are like the absolute. They're industry like standards, the highest level. So these machines are made in this country. So it's a local. It's like I say local. They're up in Lancashire, but it's a UK company that literally design and make this from scratch. And so it was two parts of the reason that we chose it. A, we were supporting a UK company rather than an Italian company. Yeah. B, servicing. If you have problems with the Italian one, it's a nightmare to get them serviced. This guy could just literally, you can get him on the phone, he'll drive down. We've had FaceTimes, and I've actually fixed some of the stuff because he can FaceTime me and tell me what to do. Yeah. And the price, this was probably 65% of the price of the Italian one, and it does exactly the same job. In our experience, when we first used it, you expect it to do everything for you. It doesn't. You've got to know a lot more about it than you think. We came in and switched it on, put chocolate in it, and thought, oh, that's great, we'll be able to make chocolate. No. It's a lot more involved, but it does the job perfectly well. Yeah. So we will continue with these for the time being, because we want to support the local, the UK business, and we quite like the product, and we're used to using it as well, so we know how it works.
Well, I guess as you expand, you've got to get bigger machines, right? Because
I don't think so. I think what you do is you just get more of them.
Right.
So I think with these, what would work? I mean, they're big enough to do quite a substantial amount, but all you do is just add another one. So you have one doing its job, and then you literally just wheel it over and put it in its place. And that's what they tend to do. The way they set these up is you might have a bank of 6 of them lined up with the chocolate all in, getting ready and tempering, and then all you do is when you want to use it, you just swap it out and stick it over it. Stick it in.
The one's cleaning up.
Yeah. It's like you end up having a sort of a production line of them, sort of thing. So I just rolling production of them.
Yeah. It's been fantastic. I mean, we really appreciate your time showing us around here.
Thank you for coming.
Before we wrap things up, we always ask, have you got what tips and advice would you give to someone thinking of starting up their own business, or maybe they've got a side hustle and want to take it to the next step?
I think we would all agree that lots of hard work. Don't give up. So don't ever let hurdles get in your way. Nothing's insurmountable. Even the things that you think, oh God, that's the end of the world. That's really going to kill everything. When we first got into it, the price rise that came was 20%, and we were like, we've got this product, we've only just launched, and we've got to put our prices up 20%, and we really, really thought it was going to be a disaster, and it almost made zero difference. It literally, it couldn't have been any less of a hurdle than we thought it was going to be, and all of us were coming into that year, we were in February, we've got to put the price up, and we were like, this is going to kill us, this price rise is going to destroy us. We've already worked so hard to get here. As soon as we do this, it's going to be the end. And it didn't make as much difference as we thought it was going to make. In fact, it actually improved things in a way, because it gave us a little bit more margin to play with to give to the distributors. But it's things like that, I think you've got to be resilient. I think you've got to just work through all your problems, but just work hard. I really would say go for it, work hard, and then and don't let anything drag you down.
Yeah, and the thing with the challenge is, it is a challenge, but you get your head into it, work it out, you've learned, you've overcome it, so when the next big change comes along, it may not seem so bad because you've already dealt with big issues and situations beforehand.
And what a great feeling as well when you've actually managed to work your way out of a problem and sort it out and go, oh, look, I've solved that problem, and look at the success we've got from it. Yeah. Now that's the thing that I think that all small businesses will say, is that the success is what drives you, not financial, but the actual little wins, everyday little wins that you have.
Little wins.
The little order, the extra. We had a couple of orders from TikTok Shop today. We've only been on for a week, and it's 2 orders. It's not worth not worth a lot of money. But those little wins are what tomorrow we're going to go for 3, and then tomorrow we're going to go for 5, and then you just build and build on the little wins.
Little wins, right? Yeah, that's good. Right, one final thing before we wrap up. How can people find you on social media, and what's the website?
So the website's www.tempered.co.uk, and that's tempered TEMPRD.co.uk. On social media, we're at Perfectly Tempered, and that's on Facebook, Insta, and TikTok. I think that's it, really.
Yeah. If anyone wants anything, they can order it online.
Yeah, we sell them online. We've also got on our website, you can find out any local events we're at.
Yeah.
We sort of keep that up to date. You can find out our stockists, local stockists, so we can find it. You can find out where you can find it at local stockists as well. So we try and keep that as up to date as possible. So yeah, we've got quite a comprehensive list there of all of our stockists, all of the events that we do, and the product range is all fully available on there.
Perfect. Well, it's been a pleasure.
Lovely.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave this. See you later.
Thank you.